and that's why I'm going to agree with this quote by Prince and Mary that says the future is like the present, only longer. And I'm going to give you 3 examples of why I think this. 2 more personal, and 1 is just an example. That's why we're all in college. We all want to get better jobs. Some of us want to be lawyers, doctors, teachers. Of course, you guys all probably don't want to be a police officer. So I'm going to talk about, experiences that I've had, which I would have to agree with this quote. The first one would be testing. If you want to become a police officer, it takes a long process. First, you have to, find an agency that's actually hiring, and then you have to go, for some of them, you have to do a physical test, you have to take tests, you have to talk to, a background investigator first, and then you have to, interview. Once you're done interviewing, they will accept you or they don't accept you. Then you will go into a background packet, which you have to fill a background packet. After that, you have to talk to a background investigator, and if they pass you, they pass you. After that, you have to take a polygraph, then you have to take medical examinations, and after that, you will have to, you're pretty much hired. And that's why I'm going to give you another example. The second one is personal. For Orange County Sheriff's, one day I woke up at 4 in the morning. I went to the Orange County Training Facility. I took my, physical. I passed it. I took a little pre-questionnaire. I passed that. I talked to a background investigator. I passed that. And then I had to wait. And I waited for 3 weeks at least. Then I had an interview that I had prepared myself for the interview. I passed that, so I waited another 2 weeks just for to fill out my background packet and be able to talk to a background investigator. Once I was done with that, I talked to my background investigator, and I pretty much had to withdraw because of some instances in the past, which I just wasted all my time, months just to prepare for this job, and I didn't get it. But another example would be. Right now, I've been with Placentia for 5 years, and currently looking for another job. I'm going to turn 21. I'm turning 20 this year, but I want a job because it takes just a long process just to get hired. So, that's why I would like to agree with this quote that says, "The future is like the present, only longer."
Right, I thought at first that the opening was a little bit rushed, and then I realized everything was a little bit rushed. So it's really an issue. You need to pace yourself a little bit more. Be more deliberate, a little more thoughtful. You're going at about 190 to 200 words a minute, and it just feels like it's all anxiety coming out. Instead of just having a conversation with us, you're saying, I got to get this, I got to get to this point, I got to get to this point, I got to get to this point, and you're going through the motions instead of talking to us and with us. I thought that you had a good interpretation of the quote, and you've got a good thesis there. There's also a preview that you set up, which is nice. There's a transition to the first point, so you're doing everything pretty clearly there. All right, on the content, the first section, it just sounds like this long list that you're giving us of hoops that we have to jump through. And I kind of understand a way that you can connect it to the thesis that you've got. As you see, it really feels like forever in the future because you have so much to do. And then you got to do this, and then you got to do this, and then you got to do this. It just feels longer and longer and longer the further you go into it. You want to remind us how that's connected to that particular point. The problem is when you get to the second point, it's basically the same list, only now it's, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. So you're basically going through the same material again, which makes it feel so redundant. And you're not really adding much about your experience there. So when you went through all of those things, did something happen? Was there something interesting? Something that made you feel like it was taking longer than necessary? The one spot was where you had to wait those 3 weeks, to get some kind of response. There was a little bit of something there that developed. But other than that, it really felt, like I said, very much the same as the first point. While you're speaking, your facial expressions are pretty effective. You seem animated that you're talking to us. The gestures get a little bit repetitive because it really feels like you're doing the same thing over and over again. And so you want to break it up. And part of it might be helped by changing your orientation while you're speaking to the audience a couple of times. Your posture is really good, but don't forget to talk to all parts of the audience. Your eye contact is solid also, but you're doing not quite that bird thing that I was talking about, but you're doing a scanning sort of thing where you're just cruising the audience instead of stepping up and engaging the audience a little bit more, and I think you can do that. I thought the exit, you went back to the quote, you reminded us of the point that you're trying to make, and that worked very effectively. All right, thank you.